Good morning, madam. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ankita. I am here to present my seminar topic on techniques for designing classes. These are the these are the table of contents which are going to be discussed in the following presentation. Techniques for designing classes. What is meant by class? Unified modeling language. Finding classes in problem. Identifying a class responsibilities. Introduction to designing classes using UML. Unified Modeling Language is a standardized modeling language used in software engineering to visually represent design and analysis of software systems. Designing classes in Python using UML helps in creating a clear blueprint of the structure of the software system. Understanding UML diagrams can enhance communication among team members and stakeholders in the software development process. UML class diagram notation. The following diagram shows the representation of a class diagram. The first column represents name and the second attributes and the operations. Class diagrams. In UML diagrams, class diagrams represent the static structure of classes, their attributes, methods, and relationships. Each class is depicted as a rectangle with three compartments for class name, attributes, and methods. Associations between classes are shown as lines connecting the classes with multiplicity and role names specified. In order to design a UML class diagram, there are two main things: finding the classes in a problem and identifying a class responsibilities. So let us discuss about finding the classes in a problem. When creating an UML diagram for a Python class, it's important to identify the classes involved in the problem domain. To find the classes, you can start by analyzing the problem statement or requirements and identifying the key entities or concepts. Here are some steps to help you to identify the classes for UML diagram. Understand the problem domain. Identify the nouns. Determine the relationships, consider attributes and methods, refine and iterate. Understanding the problem domain means you should gain a clear understanding of the problem you are trying to solve and the entities which are involved in the class diagram. Identifying the nouns. You should look for nouns in a problem statement or requirements. These nouns often represent potential classes. For example, if you are building a banking system, you might find classes like account, transaction, or customer. Determine the relationships in UML diagram. You should identify the relationship between the classes. If, for example, an account class might have a relationship with a customer class. Next one is considering attributes and methods. We should think about the attributes and methods, nothing but properties and behaviors of a class that each class should have. These attributes and methods help in defining the responsibilities of each class. Refine and iterate. Review an initial class list and make adjustments as needed. Sometimes you may need to combine or split classes to better represent the problem domain. Next one is identifying class responsibilities. In UML diagram, the responsibilities of a class include not only the actions or behaviors it performs, but also the information it needs to know or be aware of. Here are some examples of things that a class is responsible for knowing: attributes, relationships, dependencies, and constraints. Attributes. A class is responsible for knowing its own attributes or properties. These attributes represent the data associated with the class and provide information about its states. Relationships. A class is responsible for knowing its relationships with other classes. This includes knowing the associations, aggregations, or inheritances it has with other classes in the system. Dependencies. It is responsible for knowing any external dependencies it has. These includes knowing about other classes or components the class relies on to fulfill its responsibilities. Constraints. In a class, it is responsible for knowing any constraints or rules that we apply to it. These constraints may include things like data validation rules, preconditions, postconditions, or invariants. By knowing these things, a class can effectively fulfill its responsibilities and collaborate with other classes in the system. Here we can observe that the example of a class diagram, like course has attributes washer, freezer, and dishwasher. Coming to conclusion, in this presentation, we have observed the designing classes in a Python using unified modeling language, which enables us to clear visualization of the software system structure and the relationships. Following UML best practices for class designing, such as using consistent naming conventions and keeping diagrams up to date, can enhance the maintainability of the code base. By mastering the techniques of designing classes in Python using EML, developers can create well-structured, maintainable, scalable software systems. Thank you.